Sa Facebook mo, Kuya Baday Hill?
Nilagay ko rin sa Facebook ko. Ngayon ko lang kasi noon hindi ko ginagawa yun. Pinapabayaan ko lang si Mel na gumawa. Pero si Mel ata ay busy ngayon kaya wala siya. Hindi siya nag-attend sa ating grupo. Pero tingnan mo ako naka-live stream sa aking page. Tsaka dun sa YouTube natin.
Wala pa po. Wala pa po.
Hindi pa naka-live stream. Ganun. Bakit kaya?
Ano yung YouTube page natin?
Oo.
Ano yung YouTube page?
Yung YouTube page natin yung 1899 Congress.
Okay, tignan ko.
YouTube 1899 Congress. Well, let's see. Si Kasani ba hindi pa active sa atin?
Kasani.
Okay. Wala pang tingnan ko rin sa aking page kung naka-live stream nga.
Okay, live na tayo ngayon.
Saan? Sa aking page?
Sa YouTube.
Okay. Kung naka-live, di live, okay.
Tignan ko sa page mo.
Wala ata, ewan ko, hindi ata umubra sa page ko. Ewan kung bakit. Marami kasing ginawang mga ano si Mel na I had to rearrange. Itong pag-break natin sa November 30, I will have to rearrange our system para mas maganda ang ating system sa darating na year. Sa January 8 tayo babalik after the Christmas season.
Pero before that, no, may ginawa pa ng reporting system ang Wandakila, yung form yung Wandakila para sa mga na-victim ng adverse effects ng vaccine po. Sandali lang po. Hanapin ko para makita ko.
Okay. Nawala na si Wilma Manzanillo. Wala na siya.
Sandali lang. I-invite ko lang muna si Mrs. Comobils. Si Kuya Virgilio, i-invite ko na rin.
I-invite mo sila lahat. Sabihin mo na pumasok dito sa ating usapan. Nasa YouTube ba tayo ngayon? Nasa YouTube ba tayo?
Yes. Confirm po. Confirm. Ito, narito po, i-screen na natin to para ako mismo magsabi nito before tayo magsimulan ng session.
Ano yan?
Sa form po ito sa mga na-victims po ng adverse effects ng vaccines, no?
Yung adverse events, yung mga nagkaroon ng problema.
Kaya may reporting yun na dinadawa.
Hindi dapat lang ma-report yun. Kasi kung may masamang nangyayari, dapat ma-report para malaman.
Kaya nga gagawin ko ito. I-announce ko muna to sandali.
Ako ngayon, naka-green ako at saka nakapula. Yun ang mga kulay ni Marcos at ni Sara.
Wow!
Green.
Wow.
Yan. Anong kulay nila sila lang naman ngayon, si Bongbong lang naman ngayon na Carlo ang nagsusuporta ng parliamentary at saka si Norberto Gonzales.
Saan na po sila, Kuya Bertong?
Si Norberto Gonzales, sumasuporta siya ng parliament pero hindi pa naman siya nangangampanya ng gusto.
Pero saan na po sila ngayon para makasama natin?
Wala. Iniimbita ko sila. Busy daw sila gumagawa ng kanilang mga website.
Yun.
So wala silang, hindi sila nakaka-attend sa ating grupo.
Tinatawagan ko si Kuya B. Feliciano para makasama rin si Kaplay.
Sino?
si Kuya Ming, pinamessage ko na rin siya para masamahan din natin sila.
Usually, sila Melchor Magdamo, ang mga gising na yon dapat mag-attend na sa atin. Si Jingle, hindi na masyadong mag-attend sa atin si Jingle ngayon.
Wala pa nga po eh. Nag-message po ako sa kanya ulit.
Baka ayaw na ni Jingle mag-attend sa atin. Baka doon na lang siya sa Juan Dakila, saka sa Gising Maharlika.
I-invite ko na rin si Kuya Julio.
Imbitahin mo sila. Nagbalik na si Wilma. Ba't ka nawala, Wilma?
Ate Bel. Wala pa akong reply mula kay Kuya Bel, ha?
Ano?
Wala pang reply si Kuya Mel.
Wala siya ata. Baka busy. Baka hindi na siya pwedeng mag-attend sa ating ginagawa.
Dali lang po. Wala pa sa page mo talaga.
O kailangan ayusin ko yan. Yung mga, kasi dati nagkoconnect ako dyan pero hindi ngayon ayos. Nagulo nga ni Mel yung aking mga arrangements So, dapat maayos ulit, maayos. Kaya sa December, kukuha ko na makakatulong sa akin na maayos ito. Kasi hindi ito naayos ngayon
Sandali lang po, sandali lang po.
Si Kasani, meron nag-aayos ata ng kanyang connection, no?
Kasani, good morning.
Ask to unmute. Hindi naman siya nag-unmute.
Wait lang. Kasi na lang unmute kanina eh.
Si Wilma, mayroong bata. Mayroong bata doon sa kay Wilma. Okay, Kasani, how are you?
Kasani, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Go ahead po, go ahead.
Nakita niyo ako?
Yes.
Yung mga iba
Madilim.
natin kasama are not able to join us yet kasi today is the last day of filing and substitutions in the COMELEC.
Oh, yes.
So si Bienvenido Lorque and Butch Valdez is there.
Oh, good. Okay, si Kwan din yata si Charlie because we had a meeting until 11 o'clock last night and he already expressed to me what he would like to relay to the group today, that he is in conformity with the coalition of the commons. He assigned Amor, a labor leader, to join us anytime today, although he's in trouble, and that whatever agreements we will have on this aspect until 30 November, he is for it. There are some concerns that we discussed last night and came up to a conclusion, which I can reveal later. I am not seeing myself. Do you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Oh, how come I do not see myself?
You are as handsome as ever.
Yeah, nahuli ako dahil nilibing pa yung manok ko na pinatay ng wild animal dito sa bahay ko.
Are you in Antipolo now?
Yes, I am in Antipolo. I am in my house. Ngayon, yung manok ko, yung nangingitlog na manok ko, inatak yata ng wild animal kagabi, wild cat. So, ayun, namatay siya. Yeah, pinasok yung cage niya ng wildcat. May mga wildcat kami dito. We still have our own forest reserve in this area.
Yung parang musang, mga musang.
Yeah, mga musang. Oo, yun. Oo, yun. So I have to take care of it muna. So anyway, when my time comes to discuss, I will discuss. But it would be nice to be changing the latest gossips now.
Yes,
If there's any other gossip.
I was sharing it with some people, and according to, I was talking to, I was
Excuse me.
part of that group chat of Thinking Pinoy. Carlo, what do you want to say? Carlo, anong gusto mong sabihin?
Wala po si Kuya Mel, date lang po siya.
Okay, okay lang, tayo lang, nag-usap lang naman tayo dito. We are just planning things. So ang importante lang naman ngayon dito sa usapan ay si Kasani at saka si Charlie sana, pero wala naman si Charlie.
Nandito
I
si
have been asking the group of Norberto Gonzalez to join us, but they are busy putting up their, I think their office, no? Their campaign office, and they're organizing, kaya hindi sila maka-attend.
Nandito si
Okay.
Ate Jean po.
Yeah.
Oh, biglang gumapo itong si Carlo ah. Magandang lighting mo ngayon.
Oo, nakatago siya eh.
Ate Jean.
Palagi kang madilim eh. Palagi kang parang si Dracula. Ngayon medyo maliwanag ang mukha mo dyan.
Oh, Ate Jean. Ate Jean.
Oh, andito na si Jingle oh. Tanungin natin si Jingle na malakas ba yung epekto nung pag malakas? Wow, naka-smile na naman si Jingle oh. Talagang nakaka-inspire.
Kahit may pandemya, hindi pwedeng hindi mag-smile. Yan lang ang ating ano. Yan tayong bawi lang.
May tanong ko sa iyo, Jingle. Anong epekto ng pag-endorse ni Johnny Ponce Enrile kay Bongbong dyan sa inyo? Tugigaraw yun, di ba? Nakataas ang kamay niya, tinaas niya, tugigaraw siya. Paano tingin mo? Malakas ba yung epekto nun?
Parang hindi ko pansin, Sir Hill, kasi hindi ko kasi masyado nang ina-update yung mga ganyan. Pagdating kasi ganyan sa mga traditional politician, actually, nung dumaan sila dito, yung team nila ni BBM, akala ko sila FLM. So, pumunta ako sa labas. Ang daming tao. So far naman, yung maraming tao. Parang malakas naman ang spirit ni BBM dito. Kasi syempre, baluarte ng ano. Pero kay Senator Enrile, hindi ako masyado updated sa mga.
Kandidato ata ang anak niya, di ba? Si Katrina Enrile ba yun? Katrina, anak niya. Christina Enrile ba? Merong kandidato daw dyan. Anyway, ang pinag-uusapan namin kanina ni Carlo Iway, kung bakit popular si Bongbong. Kasi sa mga street survey at saka yung mga informal na mga survey, si Bongbong ang lumalabas na malakas ang hatak. Ang isang sabi sa akin ni Carlo, dahil ata nagsisimpatiya ang tao sa pagkadaya sa kanya nung nakaraang eleksyon, yung 2016. Biro mo yung dinaya siya, tapos nagprotesta siya, tapos pinabayaan ng 5 taon bago magkaroon ng desisyon. So parang galit, parang nagsisimpatiya ang tao ngayon sa kanya, kaya mga popular siya. At saka sabi ni Carlo, mukhang pro-Marcos ito si Carlo eh. Sabi din niya, magaling din daw yung mga salita ni Bongbong sa mga programa niya, kaya ganun din. Yun din ang sinabi ni Wilma. Saka siyempre, sinabi ni Wilma na malakas ang hatak din ni Bongbong dahil sa may mga taong yung mga loyalist, Marcos loyalist, na bilib sa tatay niya at ngayon ay naniniwala pa rin na pwede pa rin na maganda rin ang gagawin ni Bongbong. Pero ang isang rason kung bakit may simpatiya tayo, yung grupo natin kay Bongbong, isa lang rason, dahil siya ay nagkasalita para sa parliament. Kinasabi niya na pag siya maging presidente, siya ay maggagawa ng paraan na magkaroon tayo ng parliament system. Kasi yun ang partidong siyang chairman ngayon, yung Partido Federal, yun ang kanilang plataforma eh. Federal Parliament. Ngayon,
pero ang tingin ko naman dito naman, Sir Hill, ang naririnig ko naman is parang side sila kay BBM dahil siguro ang concept naman nila is ayaw na nila sa Liberal Party. Then, comparing ng previous administrations, compared dun sa Marcos regime, parang mas prefer pa rin kasi ng tao yung nung time ni Marcos. So, parang ini-expect nila na dapat ibalik ang isang Marcos. So, knowing that only BBM is the most popular Marcos, so yun parang doon ang focus ng tao. Yun ang nakikita ko po doon sa ano.
Okay. All right. So, yung mga ngayon pa lang nakakasali sa atin ngayon tulad ni Maria Nida Iscomo, yung grupo po namin, Miss Maria ay Nida, ay nagsusuporta ng pagpalit ng ating pamahalaan mula sa isang presidential system papunta sa parliament system. At kami ay nagmi-meeting tuwing Sabado ng umaga at mga ilang linggo na kami nag-meeting mula pa ng Hunyo hanggang ngayon. At kami ay magkukuha na ngayon. Okay, alis daw si Jingle. Okay lang Jingle, balik ka mamaya. Baka hindi ka na balik. Balik ka kagad. So yun ang aming ginagawa. Every Saturday we discuss the political developments also and how we can convince more people to support a shift to the parliamentary system. And we are in the process of organizing a coalition of different groups. We have many candidacies, and most likely today and tomorrow up to Monday, the COMELEC will start pairing them and just maybe giving due course to those that are really able to have a credible campaign. And so they will also support them, give a list of candidates, that will be valid for the coming election. Si Miss Nida nagsabi na makikinig lang daw muna siya. Okay lang. Pero kung meron kayong tanong, you can just raise your hand or just get your good morning din sa'yo. Just get your audio up and then you can ask us questions. Okay. Now, on the other candidacies, has any of you heard any candidacy that is supporting parliament shift other than Bongbong Marcos right now and Norberto Gonzales and the group of Charlie Serapio? Meron pa bang iba na nagsasabi ng ganung pagbabago? Kasani, meron ka bang naririnig sa mga kandidato dyan?
Mute muna si Kasani.
Hindi siya naka-unmute siya. Unmute. Hindi naka-mute.
Video. As to unmute. Kasani.
Mahina ba ang connection doon?
Ewan ko. Kasani.
Oh. Anyway, tinatanong ko, ikaw ba Carlo, may narinig ka bang ibang kandidato na nagsasabi ng support sa parliament other than
Wala talaga eh. Wala.
Ayaw nila. Ha?
Ay, si
Butch Valdez din.
Oh. I-unmute muna natin si Ma'am Nida para makasali muna.
Si Coach Dave Aguilar. Binanggit niya. Si Coach Dave Aguilar daw, suporta rin sa parliament. Hindi ba nag-guest sa atin si Coach Dave Aguilar? Sumusuporta din daw siya sa parliament. Pero ewan ko lang kung ma-approve ang kandidatura ni Coach Dave Aguilar kasi baka wala ni siya.
Parang si yata, si Attorney Paulie Sugilon. Parang nagsusuporta din sila ng
Parliament, si Attorney Apolonia Sugilon.
Opo.
Okay. Malalaman natin yan sa darating kasi siyempre parang November 15 malalaman natin ang mga major candidacies pero yung mga other candidacies magiging klaro lang yan later sa December 15 siguro, isa pang buwan. Kung sino yung kanilang papayagang mag-kandidato talaga. So marami kasi, 97 ba yung nag-file? for president?
27.
Ang dami-dami nun. Siguro ang mga matitira dyan, mga 95% daw tatanggalin. So,
Oh,
ibig sabihin,
meron pa si Doc Lay Ordenes. Nagbanggit din yun ng parliament na ko narinig ko nung
okay.
nag-live sa Gising Maharlika ba yata yun.
Okay, so nagbanggit din nila. Oo. Tingnan natin sa mga listang magsusurvive sa December 15 kung sino ang matitirang mga kandidato at sino sa kanilang babanggit ng parliament. Pero sa mga major candidates, isang beses, isang interview, nabanggit ni Pacquiao yon. Tapos wala na. Hindi na siya nagsalita about parliament. Panay na lang namimigay ng 1,000 piso tuwing meeting niya. Ewan ko kung hindi siya maubusan ng 1,000 piso. Dami pang meeting. 7 buwan pa ito bago magmayo. Let's ask Kasani to unmute. Are you not able to unmute, Kasani? We are not able to hear you. Ngayon, I'm asking kung sino pang narinig yung nagsusuporta ng parliament. Binanggit ni Nida na meron daw yung mga sila Coach Dave Aguila, yung sila Apolonia, Attorney Apolonia Sugilon, at saka meron pang isa siyang binanggit. Pero itong mga ito, baka hindi sila maprobahan ng COMELEC maging kandidato. Kasi maraming tatanggalin eh. Sa lugar, sa inyong lugar dyan, Kasani, sino man narinig yung susuporta ng parliament?
Wala. Mukhang tahimik sila dyan kasi may basic issue yan eh. Even if they support the parliament, will they not go the same way as President Duterte, where the tentacles of the oligarch stopped him on the middle of his term to convert to parliament? Yan ang, I think we should include that in our discussion, because how sure are we that the winning candidates will subscribe to the change of the system to a parliamentary system, would be true to their word, because we are a democratic presidential system, and therefore he has to consider his cabinet secretaries, like in the case now of President Duterte. Kalahati ng cabinet secretary pala niya ayaw sa federal. So what can we do kung ganyan din ang mangyari sa mananalong kandidato? The other issue we have to discuss here would be whoever wins cannot unite this country. Pag nanalo ang dynasty ng mga Marcos Duterte, galit ang dynasty ng Aquino and other opposition. Pag nanalo ng dynasty ng Aquino at saka yung mga Dilawan, galit din yung mga ngayon may red ribbon ng kumakalat. So gaya nung nangyari sa Thailand, yung red shirt at saka yellow shirt naglalabanan na sa kalsada, tinake over na ng military ang Thailand on the blessing of the king, of course. So paano kung maging Thailand tayo? There must be a way. We must get out of this quagmire and uncertainty. Our democracy is being questioned now. Do we really have a democracy, or we have a damaged democracy? How is the freedom of our people? Can we be sure that democracy for the people will prevail after this election? Yun ang mga tanong-tanong na naririnig ko. Ngayon, sa grassroots area, simple lang. Mag-demonstrate na tayo, matapos na yan. Palayasin na yung COMELEC na yan, matapos na yan. Mag-transition government na tayo, tapos na yan. Mag-parliament na tayo, tapos na yan. Ganun lang kasimple ang kanila. Go ahead, Profil.
Pero tulad ng sinabi niyo, Kasani, a critical mass among our people na gusto yung parliament.
Yes.
Critical mass, hindi lang yung lip service na yung nagsasalita lang, doing something about it.
Yes.
Sabi niya,
Oh,
sa salita lang, pero wala namang ginagawa. Kasi
yes.
ating presidential system, pag hindi tayo ma-organisa ng ating grupo na gusto ng parliament at mag-continue ng ating pressure pag naging, halimbawa, naging presidente na si Bongbong, bawal lang, no? Hindi tayo maka-organisa ng malakas na grupo na mag-pressure sa kanya na ituloy talaga ang pag-shift sa parliament. Maraming mga ibang grupo doon na nakapaligid sa kanya na pe-percent siya na wag mag-parliament.
Ganun na nga.
Sigong gusto niya magbago. So gumawa siya ng parang federal constitution, di ba? Pinagawa niya si CJ Puno. Pero sabi mo nga, paglabas ng kanyang constitution, ang kumalaban sa kanya yung mga cabinet member niya mismo na hawak ng mga oligarko. Si Kasani Dominguez.
Dominguez.
Si Dominguez, yung kanyang secretary ng NEDA, si kasama ko sa Expo Center, si Dr. Pernia.
Pernia noon.
Tsaka yung isa pa, yung kalbo na mukha ni Smogol sa Lord of the Rings. Si
Sikat. Jerry Sikat.
Hindi si Jerry Sikat. Si Kwan. Yung mukhang kalbo na mukha katulad ni Smogol. Rings. Si Benjok no. Yun.
Oo. Benjok no.
Kalaban nila. Sabi nila, hindi ganon. Kasi ayaw nila na magkaroon ng parliament kasi hindi na mahawakan ng oligarko ang isang parlamento.
Yes.
Kasi mawawala na yung senador. Yun ang napag-uusapan. Anyway, Ray Paraguya, welcome. Welcome here. We are the 1899 Parliament Group we are advocates of a shift to Parliament. Kaya pinag-uusapan namin ngayon sino mga kandidato ang nagsusuporta ng Parliament among the presidential candidates. Ngayon, pinag-uusapan din namin dito kung mangyayari na maging presidente na, halimbawa, yung katulad ni Bongbong, he is supporting shift to Parliament. How can we make sure that we can create and convince him that he has to promote and pursue his promises of shifting to Parliament. Kaya yun ang critical mass. Ngayon, itong ginagawa natin ngayon, katulad ng pag-organisa ni Kasani ng Coalition of the Commons, isa yung paraan para magkaroon tayo ng pressure group after 2022 elections na patuloy pa rin nahihingin sa Pangulo, kung sino man siyang Pangulo, na magtuloy sa pagbago ng ating bansa papunta sa Parlamento. Yan ang ating isang rason. Kaya nga dito sa Coalition of the Commons, pinag-uusapan yung iba-ibang mga kandidato, kung naintindihan talaga nila at sila sumusuporta rin kahit na sila ay magkakatunggali bilang presidente. Kung sila lahat ay sumusuporta ng pag-shift sa Parliament, dapat magsama-sama sila at magkaroon sila ng common position na silang lahat, halimbawa, si Pacquiao kung sumuporta sa Parliament, kung sino pa dyan, si Marcos, saka si Norberto Gonzales, magagawa sila ng joint statement na sila ay mga presidential candidates but they are in favor of shifting to Parliament. Kahit na they are competing for the same position, and they should be able to explain to the people kung paano nila gagawin yung shift na yon. Ang gusto ko sanang mangyari, kung malakas ang grupo natin, marami tayo makumbinsi na mag-shift sa Parliament, mahati ang mga kandidatura ng mga tumatakbo para sa pagkapangulo sa mga tao na ayaw sa Parlamento at sa mga tao na payag sa Parlamento. At ang sasabihin ng ating movement ay yung mga gusto sa Parliament, ito lang ang mga pagpipilian nating kandidato. Si Marcos, si Gonzales, si Pacquiao, kung si Pacquiao ay mulit na magsuporta sa Parliament, ito lang. Yung mga iba, wag natin suportahan yon kasi panayan mga presidential system. At ang presidential system, nakita natin na corrupt na masyado. Hindi na umubra para sa ating pagkakaroon ng tunay na demokratikong pamahalaan kasi manipulado na masyado ng mga oligarko. Kasi ang ating presidential system ay Senado. 24 lang senador na yun. Tatakbo. Ang takbo nila hindi lang sa distrito kundi takbo sa pangkahalatang Pilipinas. Ang kailangan daw pera para manalo ngayon bilang senador ay mga dumarating from 200 million to 500 million. Depende sa lakas ng bulsa ng kandidato. Kasi dahil sa masyadong malaki ang kailangan pera, itong mga senador na ito lumuluhod sa mga oligarko. Humihingi sila ng contribution. So pagkatapos ng manalo silang senador, bayad utang sila, tuta sila ng oligarko. Kaya, yari yung ating sistema. Tapos yung ating oligarko naman, kukontrolin na yung mga lahat ng malakihang kontrata, kakambal naman siya sa lapi, bibigyan nila ng kickback yung mga hawak nila mga politiko. At tapos, same thing again. The next elections, gano'n na naman. Gagastusan na naman nila, kukolekta naman sila after the election. So parang it's a cycle of political insanity, yung kalokohan na to. Kaya ang ating sagot sa pangkalakhang korupsyon or systemic corruption ay ang pagbabantay ng masigasig ng isang question hour na kasama sa isang parlamento. Yun ang ating main message. Yung aking gustong mangyari, sana ay yun lang ating i-mensahe sa tao natin, sa mga karamihan nating kaibigan. We are shifting to parliament because it is a way to check systemic corruption. Yung mga iba kasi, pag nagkikwento ng pag-shift sa parliament, sinasabi nila kasama sa constitutional change. Ang pagkwento natin, hindi lang dapat ngayon, hindi yung constitutional change, hindi yung change to constitution, kasi malaking topic yan, maraming gustong baguhin sa constitution. Ang gusto lang natin, magkaroon tayo ng parliament question hour. Para mangyari yon, kailangan baguhin ang constitution. Hindi yung issue na baguhin natin ang constitution, ito mga dapat baguhin. Wala, ang atin lang gusto, question hour parliament. Focus tayo doon, parang laser focus, para alam ng tao, yan ang ating gusto. Bakit nyo gustong magkaroon ng parliament? Dahil yan ang solusyon sa korupsyon. Yan ang solusyon sa malawakang korupsyon na nangyayari na under the presidential system. Dahil mayroong question hour. Ngayon, paano mangyayari yan? Kailangan natin baguhin ang konstitusyon. Yun ang parang sequence ng argument. Hindi katulad ng iba dyan, kailangan natin magbago, kailangan baguhin ang konstitusyon kasi maraming mali sa konstitusyon. Ibang issue yun. Ang issue nila, gagamitin nila para alisin yung mga magagandang nandun din sa Constitution na pinagbabawalan yung mga banyaga na mag-control sa ating sinasabi nating likas yaman. Yun ang mga maling mga approach dito. Ang dapat approach natin sa mensahe natin, we want the parliament question hour because that will make transparent the governance and that will prevent grand larceny in our public coffers. And then, to be able to do that, of course, we have to change the Constitution. By the way, we have to change the Constitution. So magkaibang yan sa isang politiko na katulad ni Joey Salceda, let us change the Constitution because we want to open up our public utilities to the ownership of foreigners. Ibang issue yon, gago yan si Salceda. Tuta yan ng mga foreign interest, hindi nag-iisip ng tama. Kaya yan ang dapat nating ingatan. Kasi sa pagsalita natin tungkol sa parliament shift, ginugoyo tayo ng mga ibang gago eh. Dadalhin tayo sa usapan ng constitutional change. Ayaw natin yan. Gusto lang natin parliament shift dahil sa solusyon sa korupsyon. Sa inyong mga corrupt, kayong mayari.
Oh, correct.
Yes.
No? Yan isang masakit yan eh. Oo, so nakakalimutan na ng mga kababayan natin na may mga pangungurakot na ginagawa ang ilang opisyal. Nakalungkot niya eh. Ate James, di ba na-message ako sa iyo nung isang kanina na pa-invite pa din yung ating mga GM communities dito? Ate James?
Yes, Brother Carlo?
Di ba na-message pala ako na paki-invite pala yung ating mga ka-GM dito?
You posted already sa mga different chats naman. So, tingin ko naman din na natin kailangan silang join ng willing, wala tayong magagawa sa ayaw.
Tama,
diba?
tama. Pero, Kuya Hill, Anong posibleng mangyayari ngayon kung tuloy pa rin itong padded voting system ng COMELEC?
Ang magagawa lang natin dyan ay i-bulgar itong mga datos tungkol sa mga padded voters. At sabihin natin ng mga kandidato na dapat may banggitin tayo dyan. At pag-usapan niyo dyan. Si Marcos, si BBM, pinag-uusapan niya yan kasi biktima nga siya ng ganong klaseng kalokohan. Kaya kasama yan sa kanyang mga pag tinatanong siya, sinasagot niya yan na tungkol sa pandarayang nangyari noong 2016. Ang gagawin natin dyan, hindi lang tayo magko-concentrate sa pandaraya kay Marcos kasi hindi naman talaga yun ang rason kung bakit tayo sumusuporta sa kanya, kundi ang kanyang pagsuporta sa parliament shift ang ating rason, ang ating dahilan kung bakit tayo ay kinakampihan natin ang kandidatura niya. Hindi lang naman ang kandidatura niya ang kinakampihan natin, pati rin ang kandidatura ng ibang mga pangulo na presidential candidates na sumusuporta rin sa parliament. Katulad ngayon, yung isang kandidatong senador, si John Castricciones, ba yun? Yung dating secretary ng Department of Agrarian Reform. Yun ay nagsabi na siya, he is for the parliamentary shift. Kaya yun ay kailangan nating suportahan, si Castricciones. Kasi isa siya sa mga senador na klaradong magsalita na siya ay para sa constitutional, siya ay para sa parliament shift. Okay. So yan ang mga dapat nating pag-usapan. At piliin natin sa mga kandidatong yan, isama natin sila sa ating ginagawang coalition of the commons. Kasi ang ating coalition of the commons, it is a play on the House of Commons. Kasi yung tawag sa parliament ng England na talagang makapangyarihan ay House of Commons. Kaya ginawa natin ang ating organisasyon, pangalan nitong binigay ni Kasani Domingo, na Coalition of the Commons. Pag hinalaw natin at translate natin sa salitang Pilipino o Tagalog, parang koalisyon ng common tao. Kasi sa England, merong common na tao, yung walang mga title, at saka merong lords na sinasabi, merong knight, sir sila, lordship, meron silang ganon. Meron silang mga duke, meron silang mga counts, ganon. Wala tayong ganon dito sa Pilipinas. Kaya common tao lang tayo lahat. Pero it applies to us din na magkaroon tayo ng parliament ng common people. Kasi the power of the people should come from the common tao. To be the majority of the people in the country are common people, they should have that. Yung ating mga elitistang oligarko, they are not so common anymore. So medyo siguro hindi sasali sa atin yan. Pero if they are in principle also aligned with what we are talking about, welcome din natin sila. That is why sa ating coalition, we are open-minded. For instance, one of the main things that the coalition of the commons would like to have, our group, is to shift the parliament. Itong si Marcos ngayon is moving that shift. So we consider him as spiritually bound with us. And we will be supporting his candidacy. But we are not limited to just supporting him. There are other candidates who are also for parliament, like Norberto Gonzales is for parliament. The group of Charlie Serapio is for parliament. So, susuportahan din natin yon. Kaya lang ngayon, hindi sila masyadong maiingay. I don't think they have really launched a full blast campaign yet. Ang nakikita natin siyempre malakas ang kampanya ay si Bongbong. Kaya ngayon, ang pinaka-visible na suporta natin ay nandyan sa kay Bongbong Marcos. But we are not particularly just supporting him. We have to let Marcos know, BBM know, we are supporting him because of his support for the shift of parliament, his support for the return of the water utilities and electric utilities, energy utilities to the public control. Those two things, that's why we are supporting him. And we will continue to pressure him to do those things after he gets elected. Yun ang ating Yung iba diyan magsusuporta kay Marcos kasi sila ay nabibigyan ng biyaya ni Marcos, ma-appoint sila bilang cabinet minister o ano kung ano-ano. Hindi tayo ganoon, wala tayo doon. Ang atin lang gusto, pag siya ay makaupo bilang presidente, ituloy niya yung paglipat ng ating pamahalaan papunta sa Parliament. Ituloy niya yung pagbalik ng mga public utilities sa gobyerno, yung water at saka electric, yung energy. Yan ang mga dapat niyang gawin. Kaya yung grupo natin will later on, sa pag dumating na yung panahon na meron talagang klaradong mananalo, sabihin natin itong mga rason kung bakit ka namin siya nasuportahan. And we expect to hold you to these promises once you become the president of the country. Yun ang pwede natin gawin sa Coalition of the Commons, yung ginagawa natin ngayon ni Kasani Domingo. Kasani, pwede ka na bang mag-report sa amin tungkol sa your progress on how you have organized and coordinated this coming meeting on November 30 for the Coalition of the Commons na gusto mong gawin sa Antipolo? Do you have a progress report of the what you have done so far? With regard to the secretariat that I am building for that, the virtual secretariat, the work area in Google Works, I am still working on it. And I think I will be working on it for the whole of December, November and December, so that we can have it operating by December 15, when we are already in the main campaign period, kasi alam na kung sino mga kandidato na inalaw ng COMELEC na magkandidato. So, Kasani, can you now give us progress on your end on what has happened so far among the people you have contacted? You said you had meetings with them separately. Ewan ko, nawala ata si Kasani. Okay, anong sinasabi ni Jingle? Jingle, magsalita ka. Ganyan po ba kaya? Ganon.
Sir Hill, ang tanong ko lang, ganyan din ba kaya yung yung Stanley BBM? Payag ba siya sa ganon o kasi alam natin na pro din siya doon sa mga agenda ng mga oligarko, pro din siya sa mga agenda ng international. So pwede kaya yun na kung maimbitahan siya dito sa grupo na ito? Pero hindi ko alam kung sino may access sa kanya para makapag-tanong para
pinapakinggan ko yung mga binabantayan ko mga salita ni Bongbong, no? Tahimik siya tungkol dyan sa mga sinasabi mong kung siya ba'y kampi sa international interest o kampi siya sa mga bagay-bagay. Tahimik siya. Kasi ang style ng kandidatura ni Bongbong parang diplomatiko siya. Yung mga ayaw niyang bagay, hindi niya gustong pag-usapan. Kaya yung mga gusto niyang gawin yung sinasabi niya. Wala akong narinig na siya ay kampi sa foreign investment, na siya ay kampi sa gano'n. Sinasabi lang niya na dapat patas ang laban, na dapat we can encourage foreign investment. Yun lang naman. Pero hindi niya sinasabing siya ay kampi sa mga oligarko. Wala akong narinig na gano'n. May narinig ka ba gano'n? Sinasabi niya, Jingle?
Kasi may nakita po akong articles na sinusulong din po niya ang alam natin na unang sinusulong din ng ibang miyembro dito sa grupo na ito na itong mandatory vaccination. So isa din po kasi yan sa nakita na may article na isinusulong niya which is against din po sa po ng karamihan. So yun
anyway,
po.
I have not seen a statement of Bongbong Marcos that he is for mandatory vaccination. Ang narinig ko salita niya ay ganito: let us encourage vaccination so that we can contain this virus. But he has not said he is for mandatory vaccination. You have to cite the thing for me, and if I see that, I will have to communicate with him na ayaw natin. Kasi alam mo rin, Jingle, sa isang pagpipili ng mga kandidato, siyempre, ang isang kandidato, hindi natin madidiktahan kung ano talaga ang kanyang susuportahan. Tingnan lang natin kung ano mga sinasabi niya at yung mga gusto niyang suportahan na nang-aayon sa ating kagustuhan, yun ang ating i-emphasize. Kasi hindi naman perfectong mundo na lahat ng gusto nating ipagawa sa isang kandidato gagawin niya. Siyempre may sarili din niyang paningin na hindi kompleto na agreement sa ating mga paningin. Dito nga sa ating grupo, may kanya-kanya tayong paningin, although meron tayong overall direction. Halimbawa, kami ni Kasani, we are for a parliament. Pero si Kasani will emphasize sectoral representation. Habang ako, I will support sectoral and geographic representation. So meron ganyang klaseng mga differences na pagtataluhan natin pag meron na tayong parliament. Ganyan din ang mangyayari. Kaya natin pinipilit we will hold Bongbong to that parliament promise kasi pagdating doon, depende na sa lakas ng grupo natin. Ang mapagsabi kung ano mangyayari sa gobyerno, depende sa dami nating may elect na MP na kampi sa atin, yun ang magsasabi kung paano gagawin ang pamamahala ng ating bayan. Kaya tama yung parliament process na yan. Yan ang ating ginagawa. Ngayon, yung mga sinasabi mong mga ibang mga tao na ganon, ako, ang akin lang message sa ating grupo, we have to support the candidate for the right reasons. Because many people are supporting candidates for the wrong reasons. Kaya nagkakagulo-gulo at nakakabullshit yung bansa natin. Kasi pagdating na ng presidente na elect na yon, gigiyahan nila at gagatungan nila na papunta dun sa interest nila yung gagawin ng presidente. Tayo rin gagawa din tayo nun. Kaya pinaghahandaan na yan ni Kasani, gumagawa siya ng Coalition of the Commons. Kasi yung ating grupo ng Coalition of the Commons, hindi lang yung ating 1899 Parliament, kundi yung mga iba pa nating kaalyado na makakausap, ay sasali sa ating proseso ng pagpilit sa magiging presidente na tayo talagang magbago at mapunta sa isang parlamento. Kaya ngayon, tinatanong ko si Kasani, ano na ang kanyang progreso so far sa pag-organize ng Coalition of the Commons. So, can you tell us the report, Kasani, kung ano na ang progreso natin? Can you unmute?
Thank you. Narinig niyo ako?
Yeah, narinig
Okay
ka na
na?
namin.
Oo. Ay, salamat sa profile. Okay, objective assumptions. Sabi nga ni Supreme Court Chief Justice Davide sa pagpatanggal kay Estrada is you must lay the predicate before you even say anything why Estrada should be ousted. So the predicate of what we are doing is that we are working on the basis that President Duterte will survive up to election time. Nothing will happen to him. So that's the first predicate.
Why is that important?
Well, because if he will not survive up to election time, that means we will have a new president. And when we have a new president, that means we will have a new board game. Now, as of now, the other predicate is we are assuming that we agree to whatever President Duterte is doing up to election time. Of course, some of us may not agree na pagka pinilit niya na maging presidente si Sara, mahati ang boto nila with Bongbong. Mananalo ngayon ang oposisyon. Okay. Yan ang gustong-gusto ng oposisyon. Okay. Ngayon, kung matuloy naman yung Bongbong-Sara tandem, yun ang ayaw ng oposisyon. Okay. Here we are now. This is our opportunity, predicate number 2, to have a coalition of the presidentiables. And as a way of my progress report, we had a long discussion last night with Charlie for his group to the extent that he has already appointed a point person to show his support to the coalition of the common. So I went to their house and met with him on this topic alone. And finally, we agreed that the coalition of the common is something that must be done before election or after election. Okay, before election, nothing happens to the president. Therefore, there will be no danger of a conflict between the red ribbon and the yellow ribbon, at baka maging matay lang tayo, take over tayo ng military. On the pretext na magulo na, nag-aaway na yung yellow ribbon at saka red ribbon. So that's the other predicate. The other predicate is the coalition of the common assumes that all the presidentiables will really, it's now time for us to agree to be in one ground. We should have a common ground. If we do not have a common ground, then that's a problem. So just to show proof that I agree to a common ground with you, Prof. Hill, at pugi dito si Jack Kennedy, siyang idol ko. I agree to your regional, sectoral, unicameral parliament. So ibig sabihin, between the two of us, there's now a common ground. We must have a unicameral parliament with a regional, sectoral representation for socioeconomic reasons. Okay? So there's no more disagreement on that between the two of us, Prof. Hill. Now, with the others here with us, they must agree to a common ground, which will be the basis of the progress of our coalition of the common. The common ground for all of us is that we want a unicameral parliament, whether it's federal or unitary, presidential pa rin. Okay, ang change lang na gusto natin is to go to the unicameral parliament using the Malolos Constitution. So this will require a total change before election and then tuloy election, or election muna and then we work with the sitting president to make this happen. Otherwise, we will unseat him. Di ba? Yun ang mga predicate to what we are going into the coalition of the commons. So we must have a common ground. We now have a common objective. We now have a common goal. And if we agree on all of that before election, then we must also agree that we must campaign for others joining us. And I have a proposal that we start issuing what we call an access card, meaning they can access to our information with the communication center that you will be providing profile for any statistical information that they want. The access card will allow them to access public hospitals so that between now and election, and even after election, something happens to them, at least they get a free consultation and free basic medicine. That's part of the access card. Of course, the end of the access card is that others are joining groups because they are promised houses. Maybe we should include that as a program that we will support. That means walang Pilipinong walang bahay. Wag lang dalawa asawa. Kasi hindi pwedeng magdalawang bahay siya dahil dalawa asawa niya. Agree ho ba? So,
No,
on that,
I think Kasani, let me interject something. If
Okay.
we should not treat this effort of the coalition of the commons as a Christmas tree effort or similar to those groups that have process of encouraging membership because they will gain
Yes.
from it.
yes.
Right now, the coalition of the commons is nothing else but an effort to voluntary effort among ourselves to educate the people about one common ground, one common process of going or getting to a system that will shift to parliament. So how do we
Right.
do that? How do we do that? We have
Yeah,
to
sure.
create a system na siyempre wala naman tayong maraming pera. If we try to engage people and say, sali kayo dahil sa meron kayong ganitong benefit, sali kayo dahil sa ganitong benefit, we might be distracting from what we really want to do. And aside from that fact, hindi natin kaya yon.
Oh, okay, I agree with that.
Sasali
agree with that.
kayo sa
Yeah.
sasali kayo sa coalition of the commons kasi naniniwala kayo na gusto nyong magkaroon ng pagbabago ang sistema ng korupsyon sa Pilipinas. At ang korupsyon ay magkakaroon ng solusyon sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaroon ng question hour. Ang question hour weekly na sumasagot yung leader ng gobyerno kada semana sa lahat ng mga katanungan ng sambayanan through their representatives ay mangyayari lamang sa isang parlamento.
Okay.
Kaya kailangan natin magpunta sa isang parlamento. Diyan
So,
lang natin i-limit yung ating communication at saka yung ating reason for coming together.
Okay, I agree with that. So we take out.
The more focused our basis for coming together, the
Yes.
more the broader is the reach of those people who will agree with us. Pag
Okay.
marami na tayong nilagay dyan na mga variations kung anong gusto natin gawin, marami rin mag-o-object kasi bakit nyo ginagawa yan? Bakit nyo ginagawa detalye yan? Ito lang, isang bagay lang. Parliament
Okay.
to be able to cure corruption. Parliament as a way to answer systemic corruption with systemic vigilance. Yun lang. Focus lang tayo
Okay.
doon.
So I agree with that. So you take away that predicate that we must have the numbers. Anyway, my main reason for that, Sana, is so that the major players will pay attention to us. But anyway, I agree with you. Let's just focus on the unicameral parliament, building it up through the coalition of the commons. So the other predicate is that the coalition of the commons would be able to attract all the other minor presidential candidates to do a coalition with us on that basis of having a unicameral parliament. Okay, so based on those predicates, we have already, of course, last time I said we have a ready venue. We have reserved for that, but we are now we have one of the group that is joining us. That is the group of Charlie. At least in principle and in spirit, there's no documentation yet. There's no covenant. Maybe we need to develop a covenant where every group with a presidential ball must sign up with the coalition of the commons, so that we can have a common ground or a common objective. If they do not sign up with us, then that reason could be because we are just a small group. Why should they sign up with us? But then that's another day to discuss as a strategy. So now I emailed to you last night a possible action where the coalition of the commons will be able to attract the presidential votes, minor presidential to join us, because we try to come up with a program where we can have 1,000 farmer leaders joining us, labor leaders joining us in the Bonifacio Monument on 30 November, and we will give them 10 minutes to lay down their platform with farmer labor leaders, if that would be approved by our group. So we are trying to raise funds for that. My only problem now is my not being able to be there, but I have trusted leaders that can take care of it even without me there, so that we can continue with our 30 November coalition of the common activity via Zoom. And hopefully we can come up with a program on the Zoom where we can really invite speakers also to join us and profess their interest to support the coalition of the commons. Now I'm trying to reach out personally to other presidential boards. Maybe I can reach out to Bert Gonzalez, but I'm sure you are more in touch with them than me. So okay, actually Charlie contacted me yesterday, because he says Prof. Hill wants really that we should talk about this, and we should not be talking it in the open, why I'm joining and why I may not join. So last night he agreed that he will join, and that whatever agreement we had today and for the next Saturdays, he will be part of it. It's just not available now physically to join us. His stand remains the same, but modified now by he is being a major part of our coalition of the common. Okay.
Yes.
Now maybe today, tomorrow, on Monday or Tuesday, I will go to the STI and get us something like even just a 100 square meter space with a clean sidings, where we can put up our video to monitor whatever we want to have monitored for the election and prior to the election.
Yes po.
Yan muna.
Sana yung pakiap
May question
sa
ba?
coordination Christian nung Monday. Hindi po eh. Wait, Tuesday pala, Tuesday. Nung nakipag-coordinate.
Pwede rin. Tuesday, unfortunately, I will be in confinement with the Professional Regulation Commission because our licensure exam will come out. Maybe Wednesday, if there's anything we have to discuss. And whoever would like to discuss the position of the common.
Okay. Ako sa iyo, no? Kasama si Christian, no? Doon, yung pong coordination po na ginawa ko noong last Tuesday.
No, yeah. Okay.
Pinag-usapan natin Tuesday pala.
Hindi, ikaw na lang. Hindi ko maalala yung aspect na yun ba?
Kasi in-inform ko sa yung sa dadawin natin meeting sa November 30. Yung sa Consultative Commons. Kasabay niyan, tinawakan ko rin si Kasani para malaman.
Putol-putol. Putol-putol ka. Ilayo mo yung speaker mo.
Maingay talaga eh.
Ayun, okay na. Sige. Okay. Go ahead, please.
Yung ano ba, yung ginawa natin, yung tumawa ako noong Tuesday po, yun, no? Yun ang pinag-usapan natin yung sa dadawin natin sa November 30. Pakimaniwala sa yung ginawa ko noong Tuesday para malaman natin.
Kasi sa dami ng transaction ko, pakisimulan mo and then ituloy ko.
Yung nagtanong
Putol-putol ka.
Para malaman niya kung anong gagawin natin sa November 30. Gusto na niya i-confirm yung gagawin sa 30. Yun po sa'yo din.
Yeah, parang bitin yung usapan na yun. Dahil para bang hindi na napalagay sa radar ko muna. But let's continue talking about it. On my report, if the group agrees to a mass movement of 1,000 farmers on 30 November and kung ano yung gusto mong ipasok doon, the idea is 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock convergence of the labor and the farmer sector in the in the Bonifacio Monument sa Monumento without disturbing the traffic. And at noon time, the shadow parliament will go there and address them. And that we will prepare a covenant that will be signed, whoever will be the presidential that will join us there, and explain why he is signing the covenant. So ano ba yung paki-summarize mo, ano ba yung gusto mong mangyari na may input dyan sa plano natin?
Sa anti-mandatory vaccine. Kasi hindi pa talaga natin alam kung anong experimental vaccine.
Pwede natin isama yan. We can, kagabi, napag-usapan namin ni Charlie and Amor is that maybe we have 5 points to present to the 1,000 labor farmer leaders that will be joining us. Point number 1 is that the COMELEC must be clean. Number 2, that the right to live by whatever means vis-a-vis the government programs is prior to anything. So that will cover yung vaccine. Very particular kasi yan, personalized yan. So the COMELEC issue, where maybe the position paper will now be read, that will be prepared by Prof. Hill, will be read to when the presidential boards will be there after the high noon meeting of the shadow parliament with the farmer labor leaders there, of course with the sound system and everything, and maybe some messages from Prof. Hill through the big screen, and a Zoom for everyone that will join us, who may be able to access that occasion. Then there are other points that should come in that may help us survive the new normal that we can work on. Yun. So, another point that we can draft and we can agree on to present to that day. And maybe every Saturday, there will be a gathering in the area. So now, we will now give a platform for all presidentiables to talk to our labor and farmer leaders that will be joining forces in the area. So yun lang muna, Prof. Phil, ang initial.
Okay, that's so far the developments, right? You have started communicating with them. The thing that we have to emphasize is that we are the small group that we are. We are the 1899 Parliament plenary, right? We have very specific things that we want. We want to shift the parliament, but other than that, we also want the shift the parliament to use the 1899 constitution. We are not bringing that thing into the coalition of the commons. That's why there's a difference between our group, the 1899 plenary, and the coalition of the commons. In the coalition of the commons, the only agenda there is a shift to parliament. How that is done, whether through the 1899 constitution, through a coup d'etat, or through elections, or through other things, through a plebiscite, through a process of running amendment through a constituent assembly in Congress. That is something, some detail that has to be worked out as things develop.
Okay.
Ang common thing lang is that thing. Now, and then minimalist lang tayo Kasani, kasi we might go into things na hindi natin kayang gawin. Kasi like you are so into other things, like you have these things, you have those things, and then we might the problem we might generate so much expectations that we cannot deliver on.
Agree.
Mahirap yun.
Okay.
Mahirap yun.
So we
Ang
take
pwede
out that activity as of today's discussion muna. So there will be.
Ang ginagawa lang natin is let's just agree in principle and do it by digital methods as much as possible para minimalize ang gastos natin.
Good. Okay. Can we arrange for a Zoom meeting with the presidentiables outside of the Saturday session?
We are the presidentiables, especially those who are major presidentiables, would not just listen to us. Kasi sino ba tayo? Ano bang grupo natin? Wala naman tayo. The only strength that we have is by being able to communicate clearly what we want and communicate it to the rest of the people. That is why, what is the things what are the minimal things we need? We need little expenses for a secretariat that we will be through a web process, because that is what we can do. I don't know if you have other people committing to you to spend money for those physical things that you wouldn't accomplish, but definitely we might generate unnecessary expectations and then put stresses on people with unnecessary obligations when they have other things and priorities in their minds.
Okay, agree on that.
So we just do what we can do. Right now it is messaging. So now, if you note what I'm doing now, our 1899 plenary is leveraging the support that the candidacy of BBM has for federal parliamentary shift. That is why our group is communicating with the group of BBM, saying that our little plenary will be supported. His candidacy will be one of the candidacies supported by our plenary because he is supporting a shift to parliament. And I don't know if it will evolve later into other relationships with him, but at this point, that is what we are communicating with the campaign of Bongbong Marcos. We are also communicating with the campaign of Norberto Gonzales and saying that we are also endorsing his candidacy because he is openly doing a campaign for parliament. But up to now, I have not yet seen a very vigorous campaign from his camp because I think they are just organizing or they may have limited resources. I don't know. Our arrangement with Charlie is also in the same manner. Charlie, they have their own agenda of running their campaign. They have their candidates and they have everything. Charlie Serapio's method is that they would like to participate in the election, accumulate votes for themselves. They will not win, but they will say, hey, you have to listen to us after the elections because we also have this constituency who voted for us. Those are the goals of these people. And I think the smaller presidential candidacies have the same or similar goals as Charlie Serapio's group, the Kilusan ng Kamalayang Kayumanggi. Now, what is the role that we are playing? The role that we are playing, according to Charlie, is something that we could be, since they are competing with each other, this is small presidential candidacies and political party groups, we can be an honest broker putting them together and say and identify them as groups that are supporting parliament. Even the group of Calyodi de Guzman, that is a significant candidacy. Why? We may not agree with the platforms that they have because you would say they are radical and left. And some of us may not agree. Some of us who are sympathetic to Bongbong Marcos may not agree with the plank there where they criticize the Marcos legacy and try to smear Bongbong Marcos with that. We may not agree with that. But why is this significant? Because for the first time, a group that's totally identified with the left is participating in a national election. They are participating and saying that they are now ready to come in from the cold of being of fighting a revolutionary war and instead fight for power in a normal election. They have begun to do this with their party list groups. But the problem with the party list of the Makabayan bloc is that they are used as fronts of the revolutionary war effort, which is a physical war against our army. That is why our military doesn't like them. What you would like to happen is them stopping the fight, stopping the rebellion that they have waged, and then fully participate in peaceful elections, that's the difference between the group of Walden Bello and the group of Joma Sison. The group of Walden Bello now is just fighting a legal struggle. Sila ni Calyodi de Guzman. But the group of Joma Sison, that is why they are pariah as far as the military is concerned, is that they are namamangka sa dalawang ilog. Namamangka sa Kongreso at eleksyon at namamangka din sa revolusyon, patayan. So that is something that is very hypocritical and they should stop that. And that is the only reason I agree with most of the populist agenda of the left, the group of Joma. But I do not agree with the way they are running their thing, or doing their thing. Kasi masama yan eh. Ano ba, doble kara. Usap-usap tayo ng peace, tapos kagawa kayo ng eleksyon, tapos babarilin nyo yung mga sundalo na pareho nyo rin, galing din sa mahirap, hindi naman yan mga anak mayaman. Kaya nga nagsundalo yan kasi walang pera, kaya nangangabuhay pagiging sundalo. Well, this is the articulation of what we want to do. We want to even coalesce with people like the group of Calyodi and say, hey, we have so common things that we can come together. We will be a secretariat to your campaign. We will tell the people that you are for these things. And then we can develop a common agenda that we will not implement immediately because we have no capability to implement. But this is something that we can implement later. If we go into parliament, this can be the basis of our coalition of our different members of parliament to get elected, to form a coalition with other groups that will also have their members of parliament, even those traditional politicians who will still end up, because they will not just go away. They will still be able to, using traditional tactics, get seats in parliament. And that is something that we have to live with, because that is the way to do it. Unless we do a Jacobin revolution or a Pol Pot revolution where we kill all the people and start anew, which failed anyway in Cambodia. So that is what we are trying to do. We are trying to build, with the coalition of the commons, we are trying to build bridges to a future coalition process in a future parliament. I am just trying to develop and articulate a clear mission statement for the formation of the coalition of the commons. So, do you have any comments on that? I would like to hear feedback para malaman natin, pagka-discussion tayo. Hindi lang naman pwedeng kami lang ni Kasan yung sasalita rito. So magsalita rin kayo, hindi naman kailangan English, Tagalog, Bisaya, wag lang Ilocano, hindi ko naintindihan yon. Pero Tagalog na lang para magkaintindihan tayo.
Kasali po. Yata, ang problema kasi dito is kung patuloy pa rin po ang sistema ng pangungurakot po, hindi matatapos to. So, sinasamahan na, magsama-sama tayo sa March, sa November 30 na marcha po at Zoom meeting po. May recognize na Ms. Jingle Tamayo for her reaction. Ms. Jingle, please unmute po. Ms. James?
Nakikiramdam pa lang.
Oo, pero okay ba nalalak tayo sa rally sa June, sa November 30?
Dapat lang. Dapat lang. Sumama tayong lahat. Kasi sino magliligtas sa bayan natin? Sino magliligtas sa mga kabataan natin? Yung nasa politika, yung mga nasa gobyerno, nagigipit, di ba? So kung hindi magkakaisa mga ordinaryong tao, wala na. Goodbye Pilipinas, goodbye demokrasya, goodbye malayang buhay.
Correct. Miss Tida, we are recognized. Please do unmute po. Unmute po na kita para makaano. Miss Tida.
Hello po.
Yung reaction mo sa gagawin sa November 30.
Ano po? Putol-putol po.
Yung mga reaction niyo po sa sinabi nila Kasani at sa mga gagawin sa November 30 na rally.
Wala namang, wala namang rally gagawin.
Rally?
Diba yung marcha?
Teka muna, walang marchang gagawin. Ano bang sinasabi mo, Giancarlo? Sabihin natin muna, tanungin muna natin si Kasani kung anong gagawin sa November 30 bago ka mag-imbita ng mga tao tungkol doon. Go ahead, Kasani, tanungin natin si Kasani. Kasi sabi mo marcha, sabi mo demonstrasyon, sabi mo revolusyon, sama-sama lahat. Aba, hindi naman yun ang gusto ni Kasani sa November 30.
Sa discussion natin ngayon, wala na muna yan. So, ang idea is messaging muna tayo. Minimalist hanggang 30 November, walang lalabas sa kalsada sa atin. Una. Yun ang intindi ko, Carlo. At agree ako doon. Kasi baka hindi natin makayanan makontrol. Although, ako, pwede kong makontrol dahil ginawa na namin yan. Nag-food blockade kami, lahat ng ganyan. Pero, tama yung idea ni Prof. Hill. Wala tayong kakayanan. Kahit na kaya natin, hindi kakayanan nung bagong grupo natin na Coalition of the Commons. Ni piso nga, walang budget yung Coalition of the Commons. Paano tama kapag marcha? Pinupos ko lang kanina yan dahil may mga gustong mag-contribute naman na gagawin yan para makilala yung grupo natin. Pero tama din si Prof. Hill na baka we are rising their expectations on us to be a new group leading towards a new government at baka sasakyan pa tayo ng mga mainit ang dugo, hindi tayo ang Coalition of the Common, parliament yan, unicameral ng parliament, hindi parliament of the street, na gaya ng nangyari ng una. Tingnan nyo, yanong nangyari sa kanila, frustrated sila. Demonstration ng demonstration, parliament of the street. Anong nangyari sa parliament of the street nila? So, palagay ko, Carlo, yung itabi mo lang muna yan, pag-usapan natin ba ng araw, kung gusto natin na gagawin yan, of course, outside of the Coalition of the Commons and outside of the shadow Congress or shadow Parliament. Para hindi natin maisali dito yung mga gusto lang naman magsalita, messaging lang ang gusto nila through the media lang. Hindi muna yung magpapawis sa isang lugar at sa isang kalsada at hindi muna dedicated sa isang purpose lang. Okay lang yung mga ibang grupo na ayaw nila talaga yung vaccine pero hindi tayo kasali dyan kasi mga kasama nating iba dito vaccinated na nga rin. Ako vaccinated na. Yun lang, Carlo. Yun lang, Prof. Hill.
Okay, Miss Nina, your feedback po. Miss Nina.
Ano po, parang tama naman po si Sir, no? Parang mahirapan din pag mag-ano tayo sa ano, yung mag-rally ba yun? Kasi
okay, go ahead.
maridtag pa.
Tama eh.
Okay. Ito sa ngayon, kasi ikaw, Carlo, ang tumatayong speaker ngayon, Mr. Speaker. Ikaw ang speaker ngayon, ikaw ang nagko-coordinate ng discussion. Kasi nagsasalita kami dalawa ni Kasani. Ang ating gagawin ay gagamitin natin itong teknolohiya ng mga Zoom meetings, dadalasan natin ito, kasi matatapos tayo ng ating plenary, 1899 plenary, ngayong end of the month ng November, di ba? So yung December, gagawin natin to reorganize our plenary. Katapos, itong Coalition of the Commons, sisimulan natin na i-launch ang process of organization sa November 30. Kung magkaroon man ng konting salo-salo doon sa restaurant na sinasabi ni Kasani, depende yan sa kung saan ang ilang mga tao magpapakita ng interest, magkakaroon ng oras para pumunta roon. Pero minimalist ang ating expectations. Let us not plan a big event na tapos gagastos tayo ng malaki, wala naman masyadong effect. Okay? Ang kailangan natin ay klaruhin natin ang ating kagustuhan at gamitin natin itong media process. Magkaroon tayo ng, kaya nga, ang gusto kong gawin, magbibuild ako ng secretariat, parang Google Works, communicate tayo doon, magkakaroon yun ng mga ilang accounts na guest, tapos may password, makakapasok kayo doon at makikita nyo ang research at ang mga datos na gagawin natin doon. So magiging ang first evolution ng grupo natin diyan into a coalition of the commons ay para tayong research groups. Para ang ating mga opinion ay tama at informed. Hindi lang yung basta-basta opinion mo lang. So yun ang ating gagawin. May impormasyon na galing sa grupo ng mga agriculturists na katulad ni Kasani, isi-systematize natin doon. At saka gagawan natin, kukuha tayo ng mga kasamahan natin na marunong magpresenta niyan in graphics form kasi ang mga Pilipino ay magbasa ng mga figures para makita nila mga impormasyon na gustong ipakita ni Kasani. Halimbawa, ang sabi niya na yung grupo nila kayang magkaroon ng proseso na maging self-sufficient ang bansa natin sa rice. Ang grupo nila pwedeng gumawa ng proseso na magkaroon ng munggo plantation sa buong Pilipinas at magkaroon ng process ng likom nito para magkaroon tayo ng export industry sa munggo kasi ang munggo madaling paramihin at paarugain bilang tanim. Mga ganong klase, pero yun ang gagawin natin na para tayong informative group and later on as we flex our muscles, it will translate into action groups kasi yung mga informasyon natin about agriculture into aquaponics and hydroponics and everything can be translated into action by the group of Kasani that is in food production. Magkakaroon silang extension works at saka paring ang gagawin ni Kasani later, yung kanyang grupo na gumagawa ng pera sa pagtatanim ng palay at tatanim ng munggo ay maaring maging corporation kaya grupo na pwede nating suportahan at pwede pagkakitaan ng mga kasamahan natin dito. So yun ang mga bagay na gusto mayari. We start with the process of talking about it and implementing it. Tulad ni Edmundo Toti Casino ngayon, meron siyang ini-implement na grupo about technology and everything in agriculture din. Kaya sinasabi ko kay Edmundo Casino, Edmond na Toti na mag-contact siya din kay Kasani kasi ganun din ang ginagawa ni Kasani. So, ganong klase, bakit ka kailangan magkaroon ng physical meetings kung pwede naman tayo magkita-kita ng paraan na ganito, na gamit ang teknolohiya. Sabi nga ng mga kasabihan ng Katagalogan, ba't ka tatayo kung makukuha mo ng paupo? Ba't tayo kailangan mag-physical meeting kung pwede naman tayong mag-usap-usap ng klaro, basta maganda lang ang pag-arrange ng ating meetings at saka ang agenda ay klarado at focused ang discussion, hindi na tayo kailangan magkita-kita physically. Anyway, nagkikita naman tayo, may video naman tayo dito, may sound naman. Anong kaiba niyan sa physical meeting? Unless gusto mo magbeso-beso, mahawa ka pa ng COVID. Mas maganda nga itong mga meeting na ganito, pero importante, we have to clarify our communication. And we should be very deliberate in the way we're doing things. Kasi ngayon, ang pinakabagandang sakayan ng proseso ng komunikasyon ay ang mga kampanya ng mga kandidato. Kaya kung makita mo, itong ginagawa natin ngayon, tayo ay sumasakay ngayon sa kandidatura ng isang malaking kandidatura ni Bongbong Marcos. Kasi may mga sinasabi si Marcos na tungkol sa bagay na gusto naman natin, yung parlamento at saka yung mga public utility takeover at saka yung ganon. Doon tayo sasakay, i-amplify natin yon para masakyan natin ang ginagawa niya. Tulad ng ibang kandidatura, pag magkaroon later on ng kandidatura, kampanya sila Norberto Gonzales, na gusto natin ang mensahe niya, sasakyan natin yon. Ngayon, kasi ang ating purpose naman ay hindi mamili kung sino magiging presidente, kundi magkaroon ng klaradong gagawin ang kung sino mang presidente pagkatapos niya maging presidente ng Pilipinas. Yun ang gusto nating mangyari. We concentrate what we want a president to do. At saka kung sino ang mga presidential candidates na ayon sa ating gustong gawin ng presidente, ay yun ang kakampihan natin. It is the what that will dictate our choices for the presidency. But we will not concentrate on one candidate alone. Klarado naman ngayon kung sino ang mga for parliament na kandidato, yun ang ating suportahan. Klarado na ang parliament group ni Bongbong Marcos dahil ang kanyang partido ay Partido Federal na ang plataforma ay pagpunta sa Federal Parliamentary, klarado yun. Kaya sinusuportahan natin yon. Yung grupo naman ng Partido Demokratiko Sosyalista ng Pilipinas, yun din ang kanilang agenda, parliament din, nakalagay sa kanilang konstitusyon at saka sosyalismo pa nga. Yung pagkakaroon ng mga sosyalista na nangyayari sa mga Scandinavian countries, yun ang kanilang gusto. Ganon din ang grupo ni Charlie Serapio. Meron din silang agenda na nandun din sa kanilang charter ng kanilang kilusan ng Kamalayang Kayumanggi. Katipunan ng Kamalayang Kayumanggi, KKK. So yun ang ating paghahabiin at pagdudugtong-dugtungin at ating pag-aaralan. Although ngayon, ang lahat ng tao ngayon ay masyadong masigabo ang pagtangkilik sa mga kandidatura ng iba't ibang kandidato kasi panahon ng eleksyon ngayon, bagaman gano'n ang mangyayaring yon, kailangan din natin magsabi ng mga agenda na dapat maging issue nitong mga taong nagsasabi na gusto nilang magsilbi sa bayan. Let's concentrate on the what. Anong gagawin ninyo? Ito ang gusto naming gawin ninyo. Kaya niyo bang gawin ito? Hindi nila kaya siguro. Pag sinabi natin kay Isko Moreno, gusto namin na ang public utilities ay mapunta balik sa gobyerno. Hindi siguro kaya ni Isko yan kasi baka ang kanyang mga nagbibigay ng pondo sa kanya ay mga oligarko. Hindi magkakabistuhan. Ngayon, sabihin natin, bakit ayaw nyo ng parlamento? Kasi yung aming mga ang katotohanan, ang kanilang mga nagsusuporta sa kanila ay mga oligarko na gustong bumawi ng pera nila sa loob ng fixed term ng 6 years. Kasi kung ikaw ay babata ng isang politiko, they don't want a system na maaring ang termino mo ay madaling mahinto. Ang parliamentary system kasi, babatain nila ng isang, mahirap bumata ng isang tao dyan kasi babatain nila grupo. Magastos yun. Pero dito sa presidential system, isang tao lang ang babatain nila, isa lang ang bibigyan nila ng pera, madali makontrol. At the same time, may fixed term ang presidential system. 6 years. So may panahon ng oligarko na bumawi ng pera niyang binitawan sa loob ng 6 na taon. Pero yung oligarkong nagbigay ng pera sa grupo na sa parliament, mahirap niyang mabawi ang pera niya kasi baka sa 1 buwan lang o 3 buwan lang tanggal na yung gobyerno niyo kasi nawalan na ng confidence ang gobyerno niyo gumawa ng kalokohan. Kaya ang mga oligarko gusto nila itong rotten presidential system natin kasi kaya nila makontrol. Yan lang ang mensahe na gusto natin gawin sa ating coalition of the commons. At yan din ang mga sasabihin natin sa mga kandidato na dapat nilang pag-usapan. Ang mga kandidato na humalang pag-uusap tungkol dyan ay dahil sa ang nasa likod nila mga oligarko. Papipilitan yan na magsabi ng katotohanan, magtuga, kasi hindi sila pwede magsalita. Kaya yun ang ating dapat gawin na proseso ng pag-communicate. Tayo sa ating pagsuporta kay Bongbong Marcos, walang limit sa ating gustong sabihin sa kanya. Hindi naman tayo binibigyan ng pera ni Marcos eh. Kaya kung anong gusto natin sabihin sa kampanya ni Marcos, ito ang aming gusto, parlamento, ito ang aming dapat gawin sa parlamento, wala tayo makakapagsabi ng gusto natin. Kasi tayo sumusuporta sa kanya. Hindi niya tayo sinusuportahan. Yung mga ibang mga grupo, binibigyan ng pera yung mga Zoom groups na yan para sila ay magpropagandize para sa isang kandidato. Hindi tayo ganoon. Tayo ang sumusuporta sa sarili natin pagpupunyagi sa isang kandidato para masabi natin sa kandidato ang mga gusto natin gawin niya. Kahit na ang issue natin pareho niya, federal parliamentary. Sasabihin pa natin sa kay Bongbong Marcos, ito ang gusto naming pag-implementa ng federal parliamentary. Ito ang gusto naming timetable ng pag-implementa niyan. Sa loob ng 6 na buwan, magkaroon na ng plan, magkaroon ng drafting ng isang law. Sa loob ng 1 taon, magkaroon na ng proseso ng pag-approve ng plebisito. At by the next, the second year of the presidency mo, kailangan mag-election na para sa members of parliament. Yun ang ating klaro. Para malinawan natin na si Hil Ramos ay hindi binayaran ni Bongbong Marcos para magsuporta kay Bongbong Marcos. Si Hil Ramos at si Kasanet at kasama natin dito sa ating grupo ay sumasali sa kampanya ni Bongbong Marcos para masusugan ang kanyang mga plataforma na ayon sa ating paniniwala din. Na tayo ay makapagdagdag kung anong dapat gawin, kung paano ma-implementa yung mga sinasabi niyang plataforma niya para sa pagpunta sa parlamento.
Yes.
Tayo ay nagkakaintindihan.
Oo. Okay, nag-raise mo kanina si Miss Jingle, no? Miss Jingle, i-unmute muna kita. Paki-unmute po. Miss James.
Sinabi na siya ni Jingle na makikinig lang siya, di ba? O yan, ano yan si Jingle.
Narinig.
Hello.
Kailangan,
Saglit.
kailangan siya magpakita ng smile niya.
Go ahead po.
O yan na. Ano ngayon?
Wala clarify kung ito bang kasi we are all aware naman na umiikot na po yung ibang grupo, no? Kung ito ba coordinated din po ba o part din po sa unification na ginagawa ng gaya nila Captain Ray, gaya nila Sir Mick, naging part din ng 1899 Shadow Congress na to. So, we all know naman, nakita naman natin na for now, umiikot na po sila nationwide. Yun lang po gusto kong malinawan, Sir Hill.
Anong tanong mo, Jingle? Anong tanong mo?
Kung ito ba'y coordinated doon sa or part din ba itong unification or itong part ng 1899 doon sa ginagawang unification na sinusulong nila grupo nila yung PVFM nila, pamangkin nila sa Attorney Posadas na si Sir Mick Feliciano, sila Captain Ray. Kasi sa ngayon, umiikot sila para magpa-sign ng unification agreement nationwide. And isa din po ito, alam po ito, isa din sa binibitbit ni Sir Mick Feliciano ang 1899 Constitution. And then, iba't ibang leader po na nagsusulong ng federalism. At yun po sa side naman ni Captain Ray is itong pagsulong ng yung stop ng mandatory vaccination po.
O agree tayo sa mga ginagawa nila pero wala tayong organic link sa kanila. Kung sabihin, wala tayong coordination with them organically pero agree tayo sa ginagawa nila. Kasi lahat naman, ang ating realm of ideas, kung pare-pareho ang ating paniniwala, magkikita-kita tayo sa panahon ng dapat tayo magkita-kita physically. Kasi pag parehong direksyon natin, magkikita-kita kayo, di ba? Kahit na hindi kayo magkakakilala, kung ang pinapatunguhan nyo ay parehong direksyon, magkakasabay kayo pagdating doon sa dulo. Kasi parehong pinupuntigan nyo. Kaya we are not concerned about coordinating with them physically. Bahala sila, ano gusto nilang gawin, okay lang. Hindi naman tayo nakikipag-contest sa kanila na tayo ang leader, sila leader. Hindi, wala tayong ganon. We are concentrating only in our message. Yun lang. Pag pareho tayo ng sinasabi, parehong paniniwala natin, okay lang kahit na hindi tayo nagkikita. Tulad ng mga tao dyan, hindi naman lahat, no? Na sabihin ng asawa niya, nandito ka sa Saudi Arabia pero faithful ako sa iyo kahit na wala at hindi tayo nagkikita. Pagbalik ko dyan, okay lang. Pero may mga kanta, di ba? Sabi, may mga pangalawang bathala na sila. Dapat tagal nagkikita. Pero tayo, wala tayong problema ganon. Kasi nasa realm tayo ng idea. Basta ang idea natin ay kapareho nila, wala tayong problema. Kaya wala akong problema sa mga ginagawa nila, Jingle. Okay lang. Wala tayong problema doon. Ang sinasabi ko lang, rarado yung sinasabi ko, yung mga tungkol dyan sa vaccination. Ang posisyon ng ating grupo is that we are against mandatory vaccination. But we are not demonizing the vaccines itself. Kasi yung mga grupong iba tulad ni Nicanor Perlas, sinasabi nila yung ano yun, yung vaccine masama. Tayo, wala tayong judgment diyan. Hindi kasi alam kung masama o hindi masama yan kasi that's a scientific question. Pero ang posisyon natin, wala lang mandatory vaccination. Magkaiba yon. Kaya hindi tayo pumapayag sa mga tao na sasabi, talagang masama ang vaccine, talagang hindi maganda ang vaccine. Hindi rin tayo nagsasabi na maganda ang vaccine. Kasi that is a scientific question. Bahala ka magdesisyon kung gusto ka magpabaksin o hindi. Ang ayaw lang natin yung gagawing mandatory yung pagbaksin sa'yo. Kasi hindi na yun tama. So ganyan ang ating panangyan sa isyong yan. Sa mga ibang bagay, mga tungkol sa mga unification ng things like that, about 1899, yung sinusulong nila, okay lang yun. We can work with them. We have no problems at all. May mga iba pa bang tanong tungkol doon sa sinabi ko? Meron tayong mga bagong kasama rito, katulad ni Richard Tuliao at saka kapapasok lang niya, at saka si Joseph Benjamin Mendoza na matagal na atang nakikinig sa atin. May mga reactions po ba kayo, Mr. Joseph? Pwede kayong mag-unmute at magsalita tungkol sa narinig ninyo.
Mr. Joseph? Mr. Joseph, you're recognized.
Hello, first speaker. Pwede
Yes.
po bang mag-request? Baka pwede po makarinig ng some update from Madam Wilma Manzanillo.
Si Wilma,
Go ahead.
recognize Wilma.
Miss Wilma Do.
Ano po? Ano po yung tanong?
Update po.
Hello?
Yes po, update.
Si Miss Wilma, fan siya ni Don Tiburcio Marcos.
I will support him po. Pero I have another plan. Si Kwan po, ang support ko po ay sa kapatid po niya. To tell the truth po. Si His Majesty King Tiburcio Villamor Marcos is my candidate. Pero as a king, he is in favor of parliamentary, of course. Kasi yan naman ang form of government ng monarchy po, sir. Yung parliamentary. And then, I invited some of the supporters of King Tiburcio Villamor Marcos to join the Zoom, or they may attend the meeting at coalition of commons, Antipolo, I said. Ang inadapt lang nila po yung SOM, yung katulad natin na SOM meeting, yun. Nagkaroon din sila ng SOM program, yun lang po. Pero going back to King Tiburcio Marcos, you may not be interested with him because of the reason you stated before. But the group has a strong force. We cannot control it because they are numerous. Whoever wins, we will uphold and respect. Ganun lang po. We have no
Okay.
control to group of people. They justify his candidacy. Ganun po.
Okay.
Oh,
Noted.
Opo, sir.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Carlo, Mr. Speaker,
Yes, yes.
where are you? I saw
Wait lang.
kanina, nakita ko yung pumasok si Benjamin Lorque. Bakit nawala ulit?
Ewan ko nga eh. Ewan ko nga eh, nasaan ba yung si Kuya, si Cabian Lorque?
Palagay ko nasa kanya, nasa Comelec at ginagamit pa niyang kanyang telepono para mag-login.
Try ko nga kung nasaan Kuya Ben.
So I think with our most of our people, I think busy, and I think Charlie Serap is also busy kaya hindi rin nakarating sa atin dito ngayon. The only thing that we have to iron out is maybe a step-by-step process kung ano ngayon ang gagawin natin sa pag-organize ng grupong yan sa November 30 ni Kasani. Anong mga requirements natin given this minimalist objective natin ngayon? Hindi na natin lagyan ng malaking pressure na magkaroon tayo ng malaking meeting, malaking salo-salo sa November 30. Just how do we go about creating this consensus among minor presidential candidates to come together and talk about their agenda? Kasi I have been inviting groups like the DPP, Democratic Party of the Philippines, na ang kanilang kandidato ay si Joey Montemayor. They are not responding. I was inviting the group of Calyodi. They did not want to join us in that thing. Yung ibang grupo naman ng mga ibang presidential candidates, I'm inviting them, pero they are not responding to me kasi they are waiting for whether they would be qualified or disqualified by the Comelec. So ngayon, itong mga imbitasyon kong yan, hindi nasasagot. Kaya pag sinasabi sa akin ni Kasani, nasaan na yung mga presidential candidates, I have been trying to reach them, talking to them, messaging them, calling them if they respond. But they have not been responding at all. So based on those response right now, and the present level of the way of organized, I think the only group that are actively coming together is the group of Kasani and the group of Charlie Serapio. Now, Kasani, how do you want to proceed given that kind of development?
Okay, thank you. So, okay, I'm trying to make an action list, which now includes, which will now exclude what we have just discussed today. So, no more mass action. Maybe we cannot expect a meeting with them before the 30 November. So, I will come up with a checklist that includes already the communication center on what STI might require us to do, and I will get back to you. And so the scenario would be between now and November 30 is a preparation for the Zoom meeting on November 30 and a preparation for the face-to-face meeting in Lutong Bicol, limited to maybe only 20 people. We cannot be accommodating more than 20 people for social distance purpose. So it's really as simple as that. It's just a matter now of writing the formal invitation. So if you can do the honors, Prof. Hill, so maybe if they're not responding by messaging, maybe they will respond to a written invitation that they join us in a Zoom meeting, or they can send a representative on a face-to-face meeting. But better that we have a face-to-face meeting, so we can agree on a common platform for all of them that we can work on together, and that could gain them more votes also, because I think it's not a one-way thing. If they agree to our common platform that we have agreed on with the others, then they may get more votes. But if they do not join us here because we are a small group, as they think, then, well, we just have to make do with, out of the 10 of them, make do with 5. And if anything happens to, if the election will go through and Bongbong will be disqualified and there will be a free for all, maybe we can support the 5 to be the dark horse to become the next president of the Philippines. That would be the best thing that will happen with us. So our action plan and activity plan is really something towards that possibility. So let's just be content with 5 joining us. So we have Charlie already, who committed last night all the way, whatever happens. So
Yeah.
I do not have personal contact with the others, and any one of you may sit down with them and I can join. Of course, I'm a senior citizen. We can always meet here in Antipolo on that proposed exclusive restaurant that I am offering, since it is owned by a columnist of Manila Times, Mr. Mauro Samonte, and who used to be with the propaganda, chief of propaganda of the underground movement, who was reformed and who is now operating his own small business, which is that restaurant, and who now believes that it is not in the underground movement where revolution would succeed in this country. It is on the above ground movement, or movements like what we're trying to do.
Yes,
That's all.
to clarify what you're saying, the platform that we are putting together, or the intersecting set of desiderata that
Yes.
is different groups in the coalition for a common should come up with,
Yes.
is a future agenda of coalition in a future
Yes.
parliament.
Yes.
It does not necessarily mean that it will be a common agenda for the current election campaign.
Yes.
It is an agenda on a scenario that in the future, if a parliament evolves or emerges after 2022,
Yes.
what would be the basis for us to get together as groups in coalition in a future
Yes.
parliament? That is what we have to discuss. It's
Yes.
like long-term planning. It's like, this is where we want to go. In that time, maybe we'll have this kind of agreement together, because at the time you already have a parliament. But at this time, we may have more disagreements because there is no parliament.
Yes.
So the discussion would be, since you are the main convener of that salo-salo sa November 30, you would ask them, halimbawa, meron na tayong parliament sa ngayon, at meron kayong mga elected members of parliament. Ano magiging basehan ng pagkakaroon tayo ng coalition sa meeting na to? It's like a role-playing process.
Yes. Yeah. That will be.
Parliament ito ngayon.
Yeah.
Kayo yung members of parliament na ngayon. Ano
Okay.
ngayon ang pagkakaisahan natin para magkaroon tayo ng coalition government na magpapalakad ng bayan?
Okay.
Ganyan ang proseso na ating gawin.
Actually, if I may suggest, Prof. Hill, that is actually the hidden agenda. We have a coalition group to support eventually.
It should not be hidden. It should be outright. We should be hiding in plain sight. There's nothing wrong in what we're doing.
Okay.
We're just articulating things openly.
Okay.
Wala tayong ulterior motives. We are trying to make our people learn how to coalesce in a real parliament.
Okay. So then maybe if somebody can give me all the platform of all these minor candidates, I can summarize them, put them into a desiderata, and then maybe that's when they can join our 30 November meeting and defend their platform so that it can be included in our desiderata.
There is nothing to defend. There's only an intersecting set to agree on because they have a position, we will respect that position. But
Okay,
what
then.
are your other positions? Halimbawa, sumali dyan sila Calyodi. They have an anti-Marcos statement in their plank.
Siyempre, huwag natin sama yan.
We will not ask them to defend it. We will accept it, yan ang inyo, pero ano ba ang pwede natin pagsamahan?
Yeah, no, we will not list that. But whatever the social action that they would like, maybe is what we can list on the desiderata.
We will look for commonalities. Saan tayo ba
Yes.
pwede magsama?
That's a good idea.
So we were not asking people to defend. We will be asking them to explain their platform so that we can determine what points we can put together as a common set of interest of all the people gathering together November 30.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Prof. Hill. Not really defend, but rather expound on what we included from their platform into the combined coalition of the common platform already, or what you call desiderata. So
Yes.
I need help on that. If nobody can write it, what I need is that please send me all of their platform, and I will try to make a summary of it. And
Yeah,
this
right
will not be
now,
presented on November 30.
the only clear platform that I see is the platform of the group of Walden Bellio and Calyodi. I will try to get the platform of Charlie Serapio in their own website. I will see what is it there, if they have
Yes,
a
please.
campaign platform ready. And I'm also asking the group of Norberto Gonzalez to submit a platform to me. The
Yes.
reason why I have been delayed in doing this position paper is that I have not seen these platforms. They are not responding. They have ad hoc things, one paragraph here, one thing there, but no listing the same way that the group of Calyodi made a list, a comprehensive list of what they want.
Okay. So let's
Kaya
work on that.
Hindi nag-respond. I've been trying to, also Charlie Serapio, I'm asking him for that. He has not given me something at all.
Okay.
Maybe you're meeting him again, get him to make a list of their platform. Ano ba platforma ng
Yes.
Katipunan
Yeah.
ng Malayan kayo Manggi?
The Katipunan platform, maybe they will submit it to me on Wednesday. We'll try to meet again on Wednesday.
I am talking to the group of Luis G. Ramos. No, he is not a relation, but he is related to Fidel Ramos. He is now the president of the Democratic Party of the Philippines. They have a candidate for president, Joey Montemayor. I have been contacting them, asking them for a platform. But I think he had a minor stroke, I think, lately. So hindi pinapakuusap sa akin ng mga anak niya. I'm not able to talk to him. Now, these other groups, na yung mga small candidacies, they are not saying anything about their candidacies kasi naghihintay pa ng approval ng COMELEC kung ma-aprobahan ba sila o hindi. Kasi sa katotohanan lang, itong mga ibang kandidato, ganito yun. They have a circle of friends, may grupo sila. Magpapa-approve sa COMELEC, para sabi, ako yung official candidate na ngayon. Magpa-fundraising. Kasi para magkaroon sila ng pera. Ginagawa nilang prosesong yan. So, that is something that the COMELEC is also watching out for. Kasi wala naman talagang plataforma, kundi they are just in for the fundraising of it.
For the fun of it.
For the funds of it. So, ganun ang mga kalagayan natin. So, what we are doing, Kasani, is not an easy task. Kasi una, kahit na maliliit lang yung mga candidacies na yan, matataas pa rin ang mga ego trip niyan. It's so difficult to get them together. At the same time, takot din sila na magbigay ng platform sa'yo. Baka kopyahin mo ang platform ko. Ganun kababaw minsan mag-isip ang mga iba niyan. Tapos ang iba, naggagaya-gayahan lang. So, ganun. So, that is why we have to observe and look at these platforms itself. Tingnan natin kung ano talaga ang nasa loob ng mga platapormang yan.
Okay.
Now, going into this, going into another segue of another topic. Now, why is it that we have aligned ourselves so far, and I already started explaining it, with the BBM candidacy? Because at this point, the major candidacy supporting a parliamentary shift is the candidacy of BBM. Now, there are threats to it, there are problems with it, but there are, I am clarifying to you that we are latching onto it because we want to have a say on how he will make the shift to parliament, because that's the only issue that we are interested in most of the issues that BBM supporting. But of course, he is espousing other things. Pwede rin natin yun supportahan at saka pag-usapan at tingnan kung ano talaga ang pwede nating idagdag doon para mapadali. Halimbawa, manalo siya para mapadali ang pag-shift into parliament. Okay? So yan ang ating concentration dyan. So in the process of doing that, everybody of us should observe this candidacy of Bongbong. Halimbawa, sabi ni Jingle, kanina, may sinasabi si Bongbong na ganito, he is for mandatory, hindi natin gusto yun. Kaya, as a group who is supporting him, we will tell him, Mr. BBM, ayaw namin ang sinasabi mong yan. Baka pwede mong baguhin ang statement mo tungkol dyan. That is something that can make the candidates responsive to what we want. It would not be just blind idol worship like the DDS who support Duterte and like the Marcos loyalists, BBM, that think that BBM can do nothing wrong. We will not be like that. We are a discriminant group supporting him, and we are clearly making the effort of monitoring what he is saying to the people, because we have to know exactly what it is so that we can even decide that if he is going, if later on he denounces the parliament and not do anything with it, then we will not support him anymore, because that's the only basis us supporting him. There's a very clear reason why we are supporting him, the shift to parliament, the agenda of Partido Federal to shift to parliament. I'm talking to the Pacquiao camp. I'm talking to the group of Pimentel camp as well as the Cusi camp. What are you doing with the platform for parliament, which is in the constitution of the PDP Laban? And they have not replied to me. That means to say they don't want to pursue it anymore. They are not talking about it to the people. They are not articulating it. They are more concerned with presenting their candidates as the better person than the other. So they're just concentrating on that of the 4 M's. They are concentrating on 2. The man saying that he is holier than others, their candidate, and the collection of money from their supporters, the 2 M's. They're concentrating on that. And then because with money, then they can produce the machinery. They don't care about the 4th M, which is the message. Pahala na kung ano mag-click sa tao, yun ang sasabihin namin. Kung anong gustong marinig ng tao, yun ang sasabihin natin. Kung anong click, ano bang pwedeng click, ano nag-click, gano'n. They are not talking about a very clear agenda like us. We want the country to shift to parliament because the parliament has a question hour, and the question hour will check systemic corruption. Klarong-klarong mensahe natin yan. Yan ang sinasabi natin sa lahat ng kandidato. At yan ang dapat nating sabihin sa lahat ng makaharap niyong kandidato. Ito ang aming mensahe sa inyo. Suportahan nyo ang parliament kasi may question hour yan. Tuwing linggo, mag-i-explain kayo kung anong ginagawa nyo sa pera ng bayan at tayo ay magkakaroon ng proseso ng pagpigil sa malakihang korupsyon na nangyayari sa ating sistema ngayon. At ito ang mga mali sa presidential system. Ang ganitong sistema ay ganito. Nagpo-promote ng korupsyon. Yung Senado, ganito kalaki ang gastusin para sa eleksyon. Yung COMELEC, binibili. Merong ganong klaseng mga ilang milyong boto na nabibili. Nandun ang Smartmatic ng dadaya. It's an integrated story. You have to put up a story, but it centers on the shift to parliament. It centers on the effort to control systemic corruption with systemic vigilance. You should be able to learn how to tell that story, because each one of us should be a messenger. Each one of us should be able to tell the people what we are about, and they will understand what we are for. Right now, 1899 Constitution, they don't understand us. Kasi gusto niyan, magawa ng Constitution na ginawa ni Aguinaldo. Wala naman yung kwenta sa Aguinaldo, traidor yan sa bayan. Ganong klase. We have to learn our history. We have to learn to talk about our message. Pag yan lang ang magawa natin dito sa campaign na to, during this election season, marating lang natin ang 1/3 ng ating mga kababayan sa ganitong mensahe. Sinasalita natin sa mga dialect nila, sa sarili nilang wika. Pinokontrol natin at sinasabi natin sa mga Ingles para marating ang mga utak nitong mga pa-intellectual kuno. At saka lahat ng mga ibang tao, yan ang sasabihin natin. Joseph Benamin is asking to leave. Okay lang yan, Joseph. I hope that you join us again. So people are leaving now. Maybe they're busy with this. So I think, Kasani, in case we have nothing more to discuss, I would move for an early adjournment, because this day is a busy day for our political people, because they are in COMELEC, no? Including our Benamin Lorque and Butch Valdez. So, Kasani, unless other people would like to talk about other things, I would call for an early adjournment today.
Profile.
Yes.
So can we expect some sort of a summary of what's available na lang from your side, and based on their website, and let me work on this. So for those who would be joining us in the Lutong Bicol, it will be a KKB. Mura naman ang pagkain dun. Isang ulam 60 pesos lang. So isang ulam, isang kanin, hindi mo maubusin 100 mo. But we have a nice place. It's an open air, so you don't have to worry about social distancing so much, except that the total area is good for maybe 40 chairs, so divided by 2, that should only be 20 chairs. So that could be the first face-to-face Zoom combination of our sectoral parliament, if we try to work it that way. But I would appreciate a suggested program format from you, Prof. Hill, so that we will be guided accordingly on how we will conduct that kind of meeting.
What I can do, Kasan, is I will articulate clearly what I was talking about now. The mission statement of our group, both as an 1899 plenary and also as the conveners of the Coalition of the Commons. What we want to achieve with our plenary, which we will continue next year after we adjourn Sine Die on November 30, we will continue again starting January 8 with a session for that coincides with the main campaign season of the elections. So what I would like to do in between January 8 and November 30 is to be able to build a what do you call this? A better platform, a command center, and a process of a virtual organization where people like us who are the mainstay of the plenary can work together regularly by logging in at regular hours, like maybe 4 hours a day. You tell the administrator monitor that you will be in at the time. Then I can create exclusive user IDs and passwords for those that are that will need confidentiality in their work. But I will have an open maybe 2 or 3 guest IDs for those who can only come occasionally into the area, and that don't need to have confidential files to to maintain. So this is something that I'm working on. I am not yet done with it. I would like also to connect with Kasani and Edmondo Toti Casino, who are working
Okay.
on both. And I think there are some commonalities that you can work on.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
the
maybe
common base.
Phil, we can create the agriculture committee already with him. So maybe on 30 November, we should also be now announcing who would be the committee chairman, so that between 30 November and the first Saturday of January, the committee chairman may want to work over and test the command center that we will be setting up.
Yes, I will be also revitalizing the shadow government networks that we have set up, the shadow pages.
Yeah.
And I will be working with some people who would be monitoring them on a regular basis. I may have to maintain a group, as I've said, of research assistants, which I will ask Kasani to hire, student assistants, who will
Yes.
maintain and become the professional moderators of this shadow government setup, because it is a huge network that I have built up in the shadow pages of Facebook. It has to be maintained by people that, by student assistants, we will have to pay.
Okay.
We might log in there and might log into the internet and maintain it and certain things. I don't know
Okay.
if Jingle Tamayo would be able to assist us on a more regular basis. But she's busy, I think, with her own little business in Tuguegarao. So, but I am more interested in student assistants that you can perhaps get there, maybe 2 or 3 from Antipolo, that we can.
Okay.
Sir Hill, if you
Yes.
siguro kung bibigyan mo ako ng set ng time, I will try to singit-singit sa aking schedule. At kung kung kaya naman ng oras, ang kabuhayan natin ay nagtatagal ng hanggang lunchtime. Then afternoon, some rest, may mga time naman na pwede nating iset kung kinakailangan na may paglilingkod yung abang lingkod. We'll try to spend some time kung kinakailangan po.
Okay, I will communicate with you by private message and we can make arrangements of your time, Jingle. Maybe you can be supervisor of this student assistants that Sunny will hire in Antipolo. From
Yes.
the
Okay, no problem, Sir Hill.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Now,
Thank you.
that's good. Thank you very much for volunteering yourself, Jingle. I hope many more people would come like that later. Kasi we are, even if we have this little group of ours, this effort that Kasan is doing, this coalition of the commons, it's not a small thing, you know, and it will entail a lot of effort on our part. So we do it step by step, small steps at a time, until we become a strong force later on. And so we have to, bound by the idea of shifting to parliament, so that we can have something to look forward to in terms of a structural change in governance. So, who are the other people now here? I think everybody has been leaving. What is happening?
Okay, I'm back po. Mr. Ramos, Mr. Ramos.
So why? How come Sunny Domingo disappeared?
Hala, nawala yata. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So only Jingle
Baka
and
po
you,
nahulog.
Maria Nida Escomo is left. Okay.
Dito pa ako.
Ikaw naman, Carlo, ikaw ay namamangka sa dalawang ilog. Nagmi-meeting ka din doon sa Gising Maharlika at pupunta-punta ka dito. Iniwanan mo kami.
Nagluluto.
Marami siyang bangka, Sir Hill. Marami siyang bangka.
Oo, maraming bangka kasi.
Nagluluto lang po ako eh.
Okay. Ano yung niluluto mo?
yung kanin.
Oh. I think maganda itong ating usapan kasi hindi tayo ambisyoso, maliit lang ang ating gustong i-implement, maliit din lang ang ating kayang gastusin. Kaya tiis-tiis lang muna tayo habang wala tayo yung mga limpak-limpak na salapi na ginagastos ng mga kandidatong ito na gustong bulahin ang bayan ulit. But we will try to take inroads and we will try to make the agenda of this election listen to what we are proposing. Ang ating gustong talagang targetin ay mapag-usapan itong shift to parliament ng mga mainstream candidates. Pilitin sila na harapin ang issue nito. Kasi hindi nila dinidiscuss ito. Takot. Ayaw. Baka hindi bigyan ng pera ng mga oligarko nilang financier pag mapag-usapan ito. Kaya hindi nila pinag-uusapan. Kaya ito yung ating role. Mapag-usapan ng ito. Ano man, nawala na mamukha mo, Carlo. Bakit na pawala-wala ka dyan?
Tinitigan ko lang po yung mga kasama natin na gustong pumasok eh.
Mukhang wala na atang gustong pumasok. Mayroon pa ba? It's already 9:40. We will stay for maybe just another 5 minutes or 10 minutes and then we will adjourn since nawala na rin ang connection ni Kasani.
I-message ko na si Kasani kung sana siya. Sana punta yun.
Anong schedule mo sa ginagawa mong negosyo, Jingle?
Sir Hill, bali, hanggang around noon time. Then, afternoon, sa preparation, habang nasa trabaho tayo, habang nasa, spend some time din sa inbox ng GM. Yun lang po. So, kung makaset lang naman ng time, ayun, nakakayanan naman.
Kung mga 2 hours a day, mga ganon, na magla-log on ka to something para makita yung mga bagay, specific na mga task, pwede naman siguro yun, 2 hours a day, kaya mo yun. Walang work on weekend. Walang work on weekend kasi baka pagalitan ka ng mister mo. Wala ka no time for love na. Hindi na pwede yun.
Oh.
Online love naman Sir Hill. Online love.
Online.
Online love.
Professor Hill, baka pwede rin ako naman dyan. Paano po?
Ano man ang pwede mong gawin na, Carlo? Anong alam mo sa computer sa halimbawa?
Marami akong nakikita na pinabasa. Alam ko rin kung paano ang sistema ng communication eh. Yung sa streaming, communication dapat eh.
Okay, pag-usapan din natin yan. Gusto ko malaman yung mga iba pang kwento mo kung anong kaya mong gawin. Ganon din, Siko. I will also be helping you with other things. Lalo na yung mga bagay na mga processing ng data, mga Excel. Yung Excel, ordinary lang na Excel. Marunong ka naman siguro ng Excel, Jingle? Nagamit mo ba yung Excel?
Yes po, yes.
Yan, Excel. Simple lang naman yung Excel, yung mga pag-process ng data. Yun naman ang ginagamit para paggawa ng graphs. Kasi yung mga Pilipino, ayaw nilang tumingin sa mga figures. Gagawin mong graphs. Yung graph, yun ang ating ibabato sa ating mga messaging. Kasi ganito, pag naka-pie chart, naka-bar chart, mas madali nilang maintindihan yung sinasabi natin. Yun ang gagawin natin. Kasi ipopost natin sa ating magiging website. Gagawa tayo ng website, ipopost natin sa ating messaging sa mga Facebook groups natin para ma-communicate natin. Marami tayong Facebook groups na mga groups kasi doon tayo magpo-post ng mga ganyang post na bawat topic halimbawa para sa DILG, topic para sa health, yung lahat ng mga gusto niyong gawin sa mga bakuna and everything, doon niyo ipopost sa DOH. Pero in a form na parang graphics. At saka base sa hindi tayo maakusahan na tayo gumagawa ng fake news. Kasi yan ang mga grupo dyan. Maraming magre-report sa atin na fake news tayo tapos ibaban tayo ng Facebook. So, later on, pag wala na tayo ng regular meetings on dito sa ating plenary, gagawa tayo ng pag-reorganize ng ating shadow groups. Pero tayo mo ng 3. Carlo at saka si Jingle, usapan natin kung paano natin gagawin yon. At
Nandiyan si Mayor Cobo pa.
wala tayong masyadong income dito. Baka mabigyan kayo ng konting allowance, yun lang, pagkape lang.
Pang-load.
Merong pang-load at pangkape. Oh. Okay. Para yun lang ang ating pwedeng tulong sa effort natin kasi pero pag manalo ako sa lato dito sa Amerika, walang problema. Lahat na may sweldo ka agad, dollars ka. O sige, Mr. Speaker. Meron ka pa bang sasabihin at saka meron ka pa bang message sa atin na jingle?
Ay, meron po ako. No?
Ganito, ang isa niyong gagawin, ikaw, Carlo, marunong ka mag-translate mula sa English, puntang Cebuano?
At tatanong. Alam ko naman yan, Google Translate.
Ito naman si Jingle, Antiqueño daw, ang kaya mong translate, di ba? Antiqueño.
Huwag yung itawis sa kaiba na hindi kaya.
Ilocano. Kaya mo mag-translate, Ilocano?
Hindi ko kaya mag-Ilocano.
Pero ang kaya mo yung Hiligay nun, yung sa Antique. Kaya mo yon.
Kaya natin po yan. Yes po, kaya natin yan.
Ikaw, Carlo, kaya mo yung Cebuano at saka sa Tagalog at saka ano pa, kaya mo Maranao.
Nako, hindi ko alam po sa Maranao po. Nako po. Sige,
yun ang pag-usapan natin. So, sa ngayon, Miss Nida Escomo.
Go ahead. Unmute ko muna siya. Miss Nida, go ahead po.
Wala na ata siya eh.
Okay, nako. Miss Nida.
Gusto na siyang tanungin kung ano ang kaya niya i-translate.
Ay, hello.
Miss Nida, anong kaya mong i-translate from English to the dialect?
Cebuano.
Ha?
Cebuano.
Cebuano. Pareho kayo ni...
Cebuano ako.
Cebuano. So, ganon. Oo. Sige, yung Maria Nida.
Pero hindi man ako maka-attend physically dyan kasi nasa ibang bansa man ako.
Wala naman tayo mag-attend physically. Panay lang ito sa gagawin natin lahat sa web. Wala tayong gagawin. Physical. Panay lang sa web. Ibabato ko sa iyo yung isang article, translate mo, tapos i-review ko. Ako naintindihan ko ang Cebuano at saka Hiligay nun, kaya kaya kong maintindihan yung sinulat ninyo.
Ano din, naintindihan ko din yung Hiligay nun.
Hiligay nun?
Kasi from Negros din ang mga parents ko.
Okay, kasi ganito yun. Halimbawa, nagka-translate tayo, magiging translator group tayo. Halimbawa, meron akong ipata-translate sa kay Jingle na isang article, no? English, papunta sa Hiligay nun. Tapos, pagkatapos niya matranslate, ipapa-review ko sa iyo, ipapa-edit ko sa iyo kung naintindihan mo ba yung translation ni Jingle. Ganon din sa kay grupo ni si Carlo. Mag-translate siya ng Cebuano, ipapa-review ko rin sa iyo para dalawa ang nagta-translate para magkakaintindihan tayo. Merong Cebuano translator sa Google Translate, alam mo? May padala ko yung sa inyo, may Google Translate sa Cebuano. I-edit nyo lang.
Parang hindi.
Walang Ilonggo. Meron din translator sa Tagalog. Ipapa-run nyo at translator tapos i-edit nyo at para maintindihan. Kasi yung translator mali-mali minsan ng Google Translate.
Mali. Hindi. Perfect.
Yan ang gagawin natin. Kasi yung karamihan ng mga English na mga postings, mahirap maintindihan yun sa barberia. Kaya kailangan i-translate natin sa Bisaya, sa Tagalog, at saka sa Hiligay nun. At saka sa iba pang grupo. Gusto magsalita si Wilma. Wilma, anong gusto mong sabihin, Wilma? Si Wilma ata, kaya mag-translate ng Ilocano eh.
Ibanag yata yan si Ma'am Wilma. Ma'am Wilma, ibanag or itawis? Kasi part ng Ilagan si Ma'am.
Basta mga Ilocano.
Ibanag, Ilocano.
Ano ang kaya mong i-translate, Miss Wilma? Anong lengguwahe? Ibanag, Ilocano?
Any.
Pwede kayo mag-translate ng Ibanag.
Ilocano po.
English to Ilocano, kayang-kaya.
Opo.
Okay.
Fluent po.
Okay, sige. Di ganun ang gagawin natin. Dito marami tayong mga gagawin, lalo na sa panahon ng January na, pag talagang nagkakampanyahan na, marami tayong itatranslate. English postings, hindi necessarily ako lang, no? Mga postings ng iba, katulad ng mga sinusulat ng mga Vatican writer, katulad ni F. Shunil Jose. I-translate natin yan, halimbawa. Yung mga sinulat ni Enrile na gusto nating i-translate kahit na galit si Jingle, na basta mayroong laman na maganda na dapat maintindihan ng tao, i-translate natin. Anyway, hindi naman natin i-translate lahat ng mga sinasabi nila. Yun lang gusto natin na ipaabot sa tao. Hindi natin bubuo yung translation. Mga paragraph na gusto natin na sinabi nila, yun i-translate natin para makarating sa tao. Tapos sabihin, sinabi ito ni Enrile. Pero later on, kung i-contradict nila sa diri nila, sinabi nyo yan, nabasa ko yan sa Ilocano, sa Ibanag. Talagang magsisinungaling na kayo ngayon, hindi nyo na ginagamit yung dati yung sinabi. Ganong klase gusto kong marating yung ating mga kababayan na mabasa nila sa sarili nilang lengguwahe ang mga mensahe natin. Kasi iba yung nababasa mo sa sarili mong lengguwahe yung mensahe. Ang tama nun sa utak at saka sa puso. Kasi pag English lang, medyo mayroon na something lost in the translation. Nag-iisip pa yung utak mo kung paano ito maintindihan. Pero kung mabasahin mo diretso sa Hiligaynon, basahin mo diretso sa Cebuano, magaling ang dating sa'yo. Tama ba yun, Miss Nida?
Opo.
Okay. Sige. So ngayon, it's already almost 10 o'clock at wala dito yung ating regular speaker na si Ben Lurke at saka yung mga inaasahan nating darating na katulad ni Charlie Serapio at saka ni Butch Valdez ay busy dito sa kanilang pag-withdraw. Nag-withdraw ata sila, hindi ng pera, withdraw ng kanilang candidacy sa COMELEC at saka nag-withdraw ng mga ang iba nagkakaroon ng substitution. So kaya sila hindi maka-attend ngayon. So Mr. Speaker, I am moving to adjourn early.
Okay, go.
Second the motion. 2 seconds.
Okay, I second the motion.
Okay, we are declaring this.
Mag-adjourn na tayo. Thank you very much for the hearing, everybody. And then next Saturday ulit. At I will communicate with you privately on translation projects. Okay?
Okay, sige po.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you again. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Hill. Bye.